What's cracking, everybody? Excuse me. Welcome back to the channel. Second video of the day. We're grinding, people. So I saw that Gunner did a video about the two most dangerous YAs, right? And he mentioned YTS and Chad. And I remember when Chad opened, I was still in Paso when Chad opened, and it went down. When it first opened, it went down. And it was one of the most violent YAs. It earned its reputation. But I was never there. So I can't really speak on Chad. Right. I could tell you, stuff I heard, but I did go to YTS. I paroled from YTS. YTS had a long history of murders in that YA. And so YA for the most part was broken into age categories, right? The very youngest wards, they don't call them inmates, they call them wards. The very youngest wards housed within the California Youth Authority were housed in OH closed, right? Then after that, the next youngest went to Nellis. After that, it was Paso. And then you had all the rest of them, right? Well, you also had adult institutions inside the California Youth Authority, meaning you had to be 18 or over to be housed there. Preston was one back then. Preston was one of them. Once they opened Chad was an adult one. Once they opened up Chad, they started letting people under 18 go into Preston. YTS was also one of the adult ones. You had to be 18 to go there. 18 to 24. And I know when I went to YTS, when I got kicked out of Paso Robles, when I got kicked out of Paso, and I got sent to YTS, immediately upon arriving there, the vibe was different. YA's a lot of mind games. I don't know. It was in a way more wild. Well, it was more wild. And it was dorm living, unless you were in Pismo. And while you were in Arroyo, the fish tank, those were two places where they had cells, right? But going into YTS it always reminded me when I went to the joint and I would hear stories about how the joint was in the 70s and back in the days where you didn't interact with the guards. It was convicts that you interacted with. Well, getting off the bus in YTS, they told us, hey, see where benches are in them caged areas? Go sit in there. That's what the cops told us. The cops didn't interact with us at all the rest of the time we're in R&R. Instead, it was the wards, right? Vatos came, and this was when they were moving raza from Northern California into Southern California YAs. So these vatos in R&R, the raza that were in there, they were all hunting. They would call a vato out one at a time. Hey, Holmes, where you from? Where'd you come from? Like they were trying to kill something in R&R. It was, it was real. Why is crazy like that? It was just so when I got there and I got ran down, it was, look, all the little kid games from Nellis and Paso, all that bullshit is out the window here. Whoever got dropped leva in Paso or Nellis for bullshit, if they didn't have bad paperwork, they weren't gay, they weren't snitching, something like that, they weren't a punk, then they can fix it here. Because this spot is run like the joint. And what was crazy about YTS is there would be dudes that were like, catch a case in Paso, catch a case in one of the adult YAs, get a 2 or 3 year term, right? And get sent to the CDC, the adult institutions, California Department of Corrections, do their little year and a half, whatever they had to do, 2 years. If they were still under 24 and had YA time, they came back to YA after having gone to the joint, after having gotten schooled by vatos in the joint, gone over there, put in work, done pegadas over there, and then came back to YTS with the pinta mentality, right? The joint. That's how they were thinking. So that was one of the things that was different. Like they would tell you straight out, hey Holmes, all that battery packing and fist fighting shit, nah, if there's a problem here in YTS, we're using steel. Like we're whacking bottles. You would see the helicopters come. I was there during the guerra between, it was 18th Street and 38 were clicked up against Florencia and I think it was Crazy Riders. Crazy Riders or Easy Riders? It might have been Easy Riders. It was bloody. It was bad. I remember when Smokey got airlifted out of there. And I knew Smokey from Paso. And I'm going to tell you a story and show you the difference between YTS and a lot of other YAs, right? I was in Y and Z. I paroled from Y and Z in YTS, right? And in Y and Z, we got a new senior. The senior is the officer, the counselor or YC. The ones dressed in regular clothes were called YCs. He was the YC in charge of the building. He runs that building, right? And this guy's name was Zamora. He was a dick, right? And one day he got a wild hair up his ass. And he went over to Z side. I lived on Y side. He went over to Z side. And he decided to mess with a cell. In that cell was Topper from Norwalk and Bruce. Bruce was a resident, right? That I remember. He was a resident. And the senior, I don't want to keep saying his name because who knows how the way he was. The senior got their door popped. Went in there and tore their house up, tore their cell up. When he was done disrespecting their cell, he told them, go back in there and clean that up. Closed the door, took off, waited a little while, came back, and he was at the door and he was telling them, yeah, you missed a spot. Hey, you missed a spot right there. Excuse me, I'm still getting over the sickness. You missed this, you missed it. Messing with him, right? And he waited, and when they had cleaned up the cell, he told the cops, hey, pop this cell again. Made them step out, went in there and disrespected again. He did it like 3 times, right? And he kept, oh, you missed the spot. Clean that cell right or I'm coming back and this and that. So, after the 3rd time of messing with them, disrespecting their cell, he took off because they were going to, start running chow. So they're running chow. Now, in YTS, you were allowed to get a tumbler of ice on the way out. You couldn't get ice on the way in. You had to get it on the way out. Because if you let you get it on the way in, they're going to be constantly filling up the ice because dudes are going to fill up their cup full of ice, go sit down, drink ice water, whatever it was, and then want to fill it back up. So they're getting double ups, right? So it was on your way out. You could get ice on the way in. You can't. You could leave your cup right there by whatever. So when Bruce and Topper entered the chow hall, they went straight to the ice, started getting ice. And the senior, the tough guy, the new guy, hey, put that fucking ice back, this and that. And they went straight towards him, threw the ice in his face, and commenced to whooping his ass. And this guy was such a dick, right? That initially, when they jumped on him, the other cops that were in the chow hall, they either turned and act like they didn't see what was happening, or they just watched and stood there. Because he had that coming. What he did to that cell, the way he was treating his staff, nobody liked him. Nobody wanted to help him. So after I believe they broke his leg or his arm and his leg, something like that. I know they broke bones on him though, right? And when they got handcuffed and they stood up and they were telling him, "You missed a spot," they clowned him back, right? Now, getting back to the big difference between YTS and a lot of other YA facilities was this: Bruce and Topper, after the incident occurred, they got walked across the street. They got walked out of YTS and got walked across the street to Chino. Yeah, the adult prison, the reception center for, I think it's the IE or somewhere down there. It might be, yeah, I think it's in an Empire. That's the reception center. But yeah, incident occurred. Boom, now you're in prison. And I believe because I was with Topper in New Folsom after that. Remember, he was working he got a job in the laundry room. But anyways, I believe they put them in the oil for that in Chino. I think they sent them to Palmas. I mean, plus they were not even, CDC inmates yet. But that's one of the big differences. I don't think there was any other YA facility where the staff could just walk you right into the CDC facility and house you. So there was a little story. There's a little glimpse at the difference. Oh, another little quick one. And there may be people that watched my channel that were actually a part of this. So during the 1992 LA riots, the juvenile halls in LA were so overcrowded that they actually cleared out a building. A building is 4 units in YTS. They cleared out a whole building. And I want to say it was where Y and Z was at. I wasn't there. I was still in Paso when that happened. But they cleared it out to bring in the LA County kids that from juvenile hall. And I remember the homies were mad because they said they left notes like, "Hey, homie, with all due respect, this is so-and-so. This is my pad. I know they're going to house you here. Can you do me a favor? Don't write on the walls, Because Vatos, they when you're going to be stuck in a cell, you're going to try to make that cell as Bonnaroo as you can. You want to have it nice. That's your pad. That's your sanctuary. They said them kids came in there. They carved on the walls. Like a Vato would say, like me, "Hey, look, I'm from Santa Barbara. This is my cell. Hey, carve on the wall. Fuck Santa Barbara." They weren't giving a damn. But that's another thing. Little YA history right there. Little glimpse at what happened during the LA riots. They actually housed LA County Juvenile Hall kids in YTS. They disrespected the hell out of the cells. And were gangbanging out the windows because during movement, you see people walking the track to get to trade line. Because YTS is a trade school. That's what it was. They teach you auto body, barber shop, like all kinds of shit, masonry. But you had to walk the track to get to your trade and get to the trade area. And they said them kids were disrespectful as hell. But there you go. There's my little 2 cents on the YTS thing. I really liked YTS because of the seriousness of it and the difference. Like Paso was get off anywhere, anytime on anybody. YTS was more gangbanging. You didn't really have, when I was there, you didn't really have the racial tensions. Because YTS was pretty much, for the most part, it was so much, there was so much raza there. Anyways, there you go. That's my video. Hopefully you guys liked it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out.